Let me share my screen. Okay, thank you so much. I wanted to provide just a bit of an update of UAA student success, which is now kind of the parent of UAA student advising. And so I have some updates related to academic advising to share with you as we go through this. But first, I just wanted to provide a bit more context and information around UAA student success. First of all, you can see the first name on there, Melanie Holbert. She's the Vice Provost for Student Success and Dean of the Honors College. She is relatively new. She came in over a year ago, actually, so I guess not too new, but she is an experienced administrator in the area of student success, and UAA was lucky to have her apply and accept the position as Vice Provost and Dean of the Honors College. And she is now my boss, and so I enjoy working with her, and I have moved from a position of overseeing the first year advising team to now being the executive director of student advising in an interim capacity. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go forward. But first of all, I just kind of want to provide an overall question. I think this is something I'm actually gonna, I guess I can go there. I'm interested in you all, if you are able to respond either in the chat or if you want to respond, by unmuting yourself, please feel free to do so. I want to ask the question, what is student success? That's a question that we get a lot as we go around the institution and talk to folks. You'll see here that I have two kind of overarching definitions, but I'm interested in your feedback. When you think about students and you think about their college experience, their university and higher education experience, what comes to mind with you when you think about student success? How would you define that? Again, you can pop that into the chat to everybody, or you can unmute yourself. Student success, what do you think? Thank you, Karen. Yeah, making steady progress to accomplish their goals. Yeah. And they're engaged in their coursework and they receive passing grades that allow them to accomplish those goals. That's great. Yeah, absolutely. It's dependent on the student goal, right? Thank you. Yeah, persisting in their education. Those are all amazing things. And I think you can see here, you have really captured that well. When we talk about, there's a couple of definitions of student success. First of all, there's an institutional definition. So the university is all about, wanting students to progress in their educational goals, and doing that by retaining them from year to year, having the students persist to register and go into their next courses each semester, and ultimately to complete their goal at the institution. So those are things that we are looking at when we are looking at our number of students, how many of them are enrolling, how many of them are retaining, persisting, and completing. And those numbers kind of give us clues onto where we might need to provide interventions for students, which we know the first year, the first 2 years are really critical times for students to learn about that persistence and to grow in that persistence. Another definition of student success is really, it's a human experience, as you all have said, right? So it's Krista just posted, I think it's a personal experience, it's all about, and I think earlier it was talking about it's dependent on the student goals. Absolutely. And of course, yeah, Janice, they need to know how the campus works and how classes are done, right? So it's relational. So there's a bit of a sense of belonging to it. There's a bit of sense of ownership in their goals. And that does vary student to student. It's very personal. And there's a reason why it's not just all numbers. There's a reason why we want to have academic advisors, right? Meeting with students so they can talk about what they're struggling with, or they can talk about what they're learning about themselves and how that might change or enhance their goals along the way. And then also, it's complex. I think student success as a human experience is really complex. You work on your own understandings of yourself, but you also have a bigger life outside of the university, right? As many of our students do. Many of them are working, many of them are negotiating family responsibilities. So where does college fit into that? Sometimes that really comes into hard choices. A lot of our advisors, I tell them, when a student comes into your office, you might think, and they might think, they're just coming to talk about their classes to the next semester. But as you start asking them how this semester is going, you might realize that that's not the conversation you need to have with them. The conversation you need to have with them might be around their, mental health and providing resources so that they can, get support with that. It might be, they might be food or housing insecure this semester, and you might have an opportunity to connect them to additional resources that way. And when those things come to the surface, it becomes less important and less urgent to talk about the next semester classes, and more important to talk about how can we provide support around the student so that they can get those needs met and also continue on in their educational journey, um, according to their own pace and timeline and their complexity of their lives. Absolutely. Surviving culture shock. Yes. Um, College is a culture shock for a lot of people, but particularly for individuals who might not be very familiar with urban environments and large campuses like UAA and the structure of it. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Let me go back to this. So I just want to provide an update. I think a lot of you probably already know most of this information, but put it up here. Who are our students? And I think it's always good to keep in mind. In higher education, you hear a lot of conversation around traditional and non-traditional students. And what we kind of say at UAA is our traditional is really non-traditional students. Over 90% are commuters, meaning that they're not living on campus. Although I will say that our residence halls are fully packed this year, which is really great. Over half of our students attend part-time, which means they do have other responsibilities outside of school usually. A lot of them are working 30 or more hours a week, and many of them are attending to family responsibilities. About half of them are 25 and older. 36% of them come from historically marginalized groups within higher education. About 9% are Alaska Native students. 90% are Alaska residents, and about 30% are first generation students. And it's important to remember the nature of education within Alaska. And UAA is an open admissions institution, and there's no community college system in the state. And so what that means is that UAA is kind of serving both capacities as a 4-year degree, 2 and 4-year degree seeking institution, but also providing opportunities for students who are academically underprepared in math and writing to be able to work up to that preparation so that they can hop onto those 2 and 4-year degree maps. The average time that it takes for a student to complete a bachelor's degree at the university is a little over 6 years, right? And then I put here too, I thought this might be of interest to everyone to really look at our top 10 majors in 2022. You can see a lot of the health sciences, pre-nursing, health sciences is up there, but you'll also see psychology, some STEM fields, including mechanical engineering and computer science, a little bit of that uh, business background and management and accounting. We have biological sciences, and we also have aviation technology as one of our top ones. And finally, exploratory. Exploratory is a very popular degree when a lot of students come in, and that's another great reason for students to connect with academic advisors, as they might be unsure on what they want to study, and they might want to really spend that first year exploring some of those interests. So at UAA, we have a number of student success initiatives, and I just wanted to talk through these a bit more so you can see how we work to really support our students. The first thing is academic advising. Academic advisors are really the backbone of student success initiatives. Um, and what we've been doing at UAA, many of you might know that we had a first year advising program for a number of years, but we've received an opportunity to really move forward with standardizing our advising practices across the board. And what that's looked like is integrating the first year advising program with college advisors. And we are now all operating under the umbrella of student success. And we are proactively working together to reach out to students to make sure they know how to connect with their academic advisor, that they know when and how to schedule appointments with their academic advisors as well, so that they can continue on that degree plan process, but that there's also that opportunity for that relational connection when a student might need to identify some additional supports. UAA also has multiple measures. You know, I mentioned that many of our students come in academically underprepared at math and writing. That number has really decreased in the last couple of years because of the faculty's development of multiple measures. Basically, what this means is that we don't rely on just standardized test scores for math and writing. So students have an opportunity to submit those if they've taken them, but we also give students opportunities to complete a writing sample, and we have the ALEX PPL for math placement that can support students there. And then we also have courses in math and writing that provide opportunities for a student to take a higher level course with some additional supports along the way with those faculty members. So to that end, we have seen a lot of success in those programs, particularly in writing, as we have decreased the number of students who have been placed in zero level classes, which really helps them accelerate their time and cost to their degree. We also have faculty early alerts. So, you know, when we get midterm grades, um, you know, halfway through the semester, honestly, sometimes it's too late for a student to turn it around if they only have a couple of weeks left before their final exam. And so what we're really trying to do is partner with faculty to identify as early as weeks 1, 2, and 3, into week 4 and 5, and maybe even 7, to identify early who isn't attending class, who isn't logging in to our Blackboard system and engaging in their online classes, who are students that might be receiving low test scores and could use some additional support and tutoring, who are students that might not have the technology they need to succeed in the course, who are students that might be missing deadlines. When we can receive that information early, then we're able to partner with faculties, academic advisors, and other professionals in student success to partner with faculty and to partner with the student to be able to intervene and get the student connected to resources when they need them. I can't tell you how many students, even as early as week 2, we get an alert that says from the faculty that the student isn't submitting assignments. We have an advisor reach out to them, and the student realized, you know, through that conversation that they thought they had submitted the assignment but Blackboard, but it apparently didn't go through. And so if we're able to intervene early, that doesn't snowball for the student, right? So that's a very important feature of the Student Success Initiative. Another feature that we have is the Navigate mobile app. This allows students to schedule appointments with their academic advisors from their mobile app. And it also has a hold center. So if a student has an account hold, let's say they missed a payment deadline, that information will show up in the Navigate mobile app, and it'll tell them how they can resolve that. Students that have that app resolve their degree or their registration holds in half the time than students who don't have that mobile app. Peer support is another thing that we are growing. We actually just got approved for a Title III grant to add peer support for students. And so we have learning assistants who support students in and courses where there might be higher fail or withdraw grades. But we are also building onto that so we can bring some academic coaches and really some one-to-one peer support for students throughout their first couple of years in particular. And then also we're focusing on textbook affordability with our faculty. We've added that marker. The students are able to see courses that have low cost or no cost textbooks and they're as they're scheduling their classes, which is really incredible. And then I just want to provide a little bit of an overview of the Office of Student Success. Again, we have academic advising programs. We have our success initiatives that I mentioned, like Navigate and those faculty alerts. But we also have the middle college program is within student success. So ASD students coming to be dual enrolled with UAA. We have the Learning Commons that supports areas of tutoring for students. And then we also have the TRIO programs that support our first generation college students and getting them really connected from high school on throughout and into graduate programs. And then we also have the honors colleges under the purview of the vice provost for student success. And the honors college program is really doing innovative programs and structures to make honors college accessible for students. They want to focus on not necessarily adding a bunch of courses, but really providing opportunities for students in their degree program to add additional concentrations and co-curricular opportunities around research and creativity, leadership, global and multicultural studies, or community engagements. And so students are able to partner with faculty and choose a track in one of those areas in the honors program. And then finally, I just kind of want to conclude with a couple of more slides that talk about our recent survey to students. For the past couple of years, we've been doing a risk survey, which is revealing institutional strengths and challenges. We have done a random sample of students for the past 3 years around that. And last year we asked the students, since one of our aspirations for our strategic plan is to put students first. We wanted to ask the students, do you consider UAA a student-centered institution? And as you can see there, the majority of students completing the survey strongly agreed or somewhat agreed with that statement. Over 70% reported that they would be likely to recommend a UAA to a friend. Over 80% reported that they felt like their UAA education was worth more than they've paid for it. And 70% reported that they're attending UAA to complete or to increase job and career opportunities, with a quarter of those students saying that we're serving them very well in that goal. So I think you can see here that we're really excited about that. Students see the value of the institution, but obviously we want those percentages to increase, right? So we want to make sure that we are very well serving students as a student-centered institution towards their goals. And then finally, I usually in presentations just talking about how to partner with us. And I think I know you all care about students, obviously, and so you wouldn't be choosing this work if you didn't. And I think you know firsthand the struggles that many students face when they're coming to college. I will say one of the things that we've noticed are in that risk survey that we did in 2022, we asked a question of to what extent mental health challenges have impacted students' ability to be successful in their classes, and over 80% of students said that impacted them in the last year. And so we know that that is a big concern for students, and we know that even the UAA navigation is a concern. We operate, institutions operate in organizational charts, but students just experience college. And our work as professionals and our work as partners with you is really to help that UAA navigation, to make it more seamless for the student experience, to put that on the burden of our staff to figure out, and so that we don't have like a culture of just referring students to the right office, but we have a culture of connecting them to the correct resources on our campus. And I just want to thank you for being a partner with us, for collaborating with us, and for staying informed through forums like this and other ways that you are connected to the university. I can stop there, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone might have. No questions?
I don't see any questions, Valerie, in the chat box. So we'll let you go, but thank you so much for joining us this morning and sharing all these exciting initiatives under student success at UAA. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Wonderful. Thank you. Have a great day.
You
Bye-bye.
too.